currently 11:14 p.m. Yeah, I got up at around 11 p.m. So not too long ago from now. After I fell asleep at around 6 p.m. following a sort of late lunch at around 6 p.m. in which I had part of a helping from a Singapore house special party tray from an Americanized Chinese restaurant that Dad and I hadn't ordered from in a long time. In the time realm of months. When we get party trays like this, I have a tendency to like to put the duck sauce packets on it, while Dad is more into the soy sauce packets. At around 8:30 in the morning, for breakfast, I had the last of that pizza that Dad was given. When the other day, Dad's mom got I believe a large sheet pizza. Large cheese pizza from Brine Dairy. A franchise of that brand of convenience store. I believe it was microwaved for a minute, and then an hour later, I had some of the latest bag of white cheddar smart popcorn that Dad got. I think from Wegmans the other day. The whole time I had cups of plain coffee. After Dad made a fresh pot. Yeah, I remember that in the morning hours, prior to Dad getting up for today, I worked on the stitching of this polystyrene drawings baseball cap. The stitching these little lines side by side, kind of parallel to the big lines. And then I spent the morning hours after Dad got up and a bit of the afternoon hours working on these two Chinese simplified characters, which are supposed to mean warlord. Ultimately, I decided not to draw anything on the sides. It seems to me, even the simplest word would consist of two characters, which I would barely be able to fit on the side, on a side of the baseball cap. Even then, I would think I would have to squeeze those two characters in. I think around 1 p.m. Dan and I went over to his parents' place in order to visit them briefly. Yeah, I remember Dad making some conversation with his parents. Yeah, they both live in that house. If for some reason, anytime I worked on this baseball cap, at many times I would feel like filling in any spot that didn't quite look the same as the rest of the paint, so to speak, after I colored over it with a Sharpie marker. Due to concerns that the darkest hue of gray Sharpie marker would make the characters, which I drew in using first a fine tip black Sharpie marker and then an ultra fine tip to deal with any air holes, it would make those two characters too hard to read, so I ended up using this medium gray a Sharpie marker, as well as then this one to deal with air holes. And then the plan was I used the darkest hue gray Sharpie marker to make these little raised circles or ovals that you tend to see as a sort of four corners around this centerpiece of the baseball cap. Although it turns out there seems to be virtually no difference between a darkest hue gray Sharpie marker and a medium gray Sharpie marker, so I then use this Sharpie marker in order to ensure that the raised oval bits would be visible. Yeah, I haven't quite finished the baseball cap yet, but I'll be doing so. In the hours following this meal, while Dad and I were visiting his parents, I think at the start, Dad's mom told me about an envelope and I believe an 8-pack of mini Kit Kats. That someone on Dad's side of the family, related to one of my aunts, he gave me as a sort of thank you gift for making the third polystyrene drawing of Santa Claus. That relative hasn't seen it yet. Since the aunt doesn't want him to see it until either their birthday or Christmas. I've only had one of those mini Kit Kats so far. I gave another one to Dad. So we had 2 of the 8 so far as I know. And I think that was around 3:30 p.m. after we got back from Dad taking me out for driving practice for the first time in a few months. according to him, yeah, I hadn't gotten rusty. I did pretty good for having gone a few months without any driving practice. Though I did think I got a bit nervous, but I still did pretty good. And made sure to pay attention to different things, although there was one point in which I nearly forgot to stop. I think because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to stop there or not. I believe we ended up on the roads where our local Byron Dairy convenience store was located for about half an hour. From 2 to 2:30 p.m. And then we drove to the local Byron Dairy convenience store. Where one of Dad's friends and coworkers had their LLV. The parking lot, I believe, because he was planning on buying something there. In particular, we both had a coupon for a dozen free large eggs. Because Dad gave me one. Though Dad also got I believe a 6-pack of a brand of beer to go with those 2 cartons of a dozen eggs that we got for free. Thanks to those 2 coupons. I believe it was all 1 per customer. And Dan and I made 2 customers. And I recall eagerly combining carton and coupon Dad gave me. As we checked to make sure none of the eggs were cracked. And our purchases were all combined into one. This is one of the mini Kit Kats I was talking about. After having the one at around 3:30 p.m., I told my dad that I would like the Kit Kats to be put in the freezer so they would be frozen. I believe they're better that way. It ensures they won't melt. Dad and I, around 2:30 p.m., engaged in some conversation with his friend and coworker. In the parking lot. Though I think Dad did most of the talking. In the same case, while we were visiting his parents today. I remember how in the early afternoon, sometime between noon and 1 p.m., Dad opened the window right next to me about a crack in an effort to make this attic less stuffy, though it didn't really seem stuffy to me. Though I got concerns thinking maybe I felt droplets when the window closest to me it was open, thinking maybe a droplet could get on the polystyrene block I was working on, and I'm still working on. Plus maybe one could get on my laptop was something I also thought after I shut that window, and I instead opened a crack that other window that's kind of down a sort of hallway that includes the stairs both to this attic area and to the ground floor. I opened that window open a crack. As my way to make the room less stuffy, or I think in my case ensure that it wouldn't get stuffy, while also ensuring that no droplets would get on the polystyrene block I was working on. I have a feeling that these past few days, it's been raining quite a bit, as it's now the fall. So maybe that's where the droplets were coming from. Maybe rain residue on that window that Dad opened first, that I later closed. That's my thought anyway.